Have you ever had one of those days where you push yourself to get everything done because you woke up feeling good and then your body completely crashes afterward? Maybe you are wiped out for the rest of the day. Maybe you're down for the next day. Or sometimes it might take a whole week before you finally start to feel like yourself again. And then afterwards, you're left wondering, was it even worth it to try to get all this stuff done? Today, we're going to be talking about the push-crash cycle that so many moms with chronic symptoms experience. And we're going to talk about a few small mindset shifts that are going to help you move from constantly feeling like you have to push your body to actually nurturing and taking care of it in a sustainable way that still helps you to get stuff done. Let's get started.
Welcome to Chronic Illness Moms. If you're more than just a tired mom, I'm talking trying to make it through the day without crashing by noon while raising neurodivergent kids, you're not alone. I'm Ashley, a wife, mom, and certified health coach. I have lived with autoimmune disease and flare-ups that made everyday life feel harder than it should. After years of pushing through and burning out, I learned how much stress, poor sleep, and nervous system overload were driving my symptoms. Everything changed when I started building small, realistic habits that actually supported my body instead of fighting it. In this podcast, you'll learn simple habits that help you to feel better. So pop in your earbuds and take a break from the chaos. It's you time.
Hey friend, welcome back. Okay, if you live with any type of chronic symptoms, whether that's fatigue, exhaustion, brain fog, just feeling like you're chronically stressed or overwhelmed, there is a very good chance that you know exactly what I'm talking about whenever I say the push-crash cycle. Now, you might not call it that, but when I describe it, you'll know what I mean. You wake up one day and maybe you feel a little bit better, or maybe you feel great, but you're thinking, okay, I was really behind on stuff because I was not feeling well for the last couple of days, so I've got to catch up. So you start doing all the things. You're cleaning the house, you're running errands, you're answering messages, you're helping your kids. Maybe you're trying to tackle that super long to-do list that has been sitting in your mind or on your desk all week because you're thinking, I have to get this done while I feel good. It's all on me. If I don't do it now, it's not going to get done. So you just push yourself. You ignore any signals that your body might be sending. And then by the end of the day, sure, you accomplished a lot, but then you crash. The next day, your body is drained. You might have joint pain. You feel exhausted. You might feel like, oh my goodness, am I getting the flu? I feel so bad. I can't think straight. I'm inflamed. I don't know what to do. And suddenly, all the progress that you made yesterday, it doesn't even really feel like it. It doesn't feel like it's worth it. The price that you paid for the way you feel now. If that pattern sounds familiar to you, you are not alone. There are so many moms who are living with chronic symptoms, chronic illness that fall into this cycle because they care so deeply about their family and their responsibilities. But the truth is that constantly pushing your body is often going to lead to more setbacks over time instead of more progress. So I want to tell you about something that used to happen to me fairly often, especially whenever I was dealing with a lot of chronic illness stuff. I would wake up on a day where I would feel a little bit better. Again, not amazing, but better than the day before. And I would be like, oh, I've got to catch up. I'm going to do all the things. I do laundry, clean the kitchen, take my kids all the places, take them outside to play, go for a walk, lift weights. Like I've got to do all the stuff that I didn't get done whenever I was feeling so bad. I need to exercise. I need to make sure I'm eating well, get all my water, do everything. I have to take advantage of this day. But then, I would start noticing signs somewhere in the middle that I would ignore. I would start feeling a little bit foggy, like couldn't start to not think straight. I'd start to get a little bit more irritable. I might be feeling some joint pain, stuff like that. But instead of slowing down, I would just push myself because I wanted to finish what I started. I'm a very task-driven person. And so pairing that personality trait with also experiencing chronic symptoms at that time was really detrimental for me because I would feel so much guilt about not accomplishing the task that I wanted to do. So instead of moderating myself, instead of slowing down, I would just push myself harder because I wanted to check off all the things on my list. But then I would be completely wiped out. And, sometimes I would be down for a week because I had pushed myself so hard. And it was interesting because for a long time, I didn't even actually notice. I didn't relate the two. I just thought, okay, I'm now having another flare up. But what I realized over time is, oh my goodness, every single time I push myself too hard, I'm suddenly crashing. I'm having this flare up of symptoms. And in my mind, I thought by pushing myself to get all of this stuff done, I was being responsible. I was doing the stuff that I needed to do. I thought I'm caring for my family. And that means I need to push through the symptoms no matter what. But what I slowly realized over time was that when I was pushing my body like that, it wasn't actually helping anyone. It especially wasn't helping me, but it really wasn't helping my family, because while I might have one good day, then I'm down for a week. So how am I actually able to be active and engaged and involved with my kids and keep up with my kids when I'm then down for a week with negative symptoms because of this flare up that I'm having from pushing myself so hard? It was just creating this cycle where I would overdo it, then have to give my body days to recover, or sometimes a week. And, it's something I see and hear a lot from moms, because we are just so set on feeling like it is all on us and we have to push and we have to get it done. Our natural instinct is just to push harder. We're managing kids, home, schedules, responsibilities, all of this stuff while your body is already depleted, and we just push it even harder. It took me some time, but what I discovered was that constantly pushing my body was actually just keeping me stuck in this push crash cycle, which was also really actually just absolutely tanking my productivity. And I love to work with moms through this, because what we can begin to see is that shifting your pace and your mindset around caring for your body, for your family, it really can help you to begin to be more stable with your energy and also begin to experience fewer crashes. So if this is something you want support with, you can learn more about my one-on-one coaching at ashleybraden.com/coaching. If the push crash cycle is something that you recognize that you're doing, the real shift, I think, can start with our thinking. Because many of us were taught that in order to care for our families, that means we have to push ourselves as hard as possible, no matter what. But when you're living with chronic illness or chronic symptoms, that really can work against your health. So let's talk about a few mindset shifts that are going to help you move from feeling like you have to push your body to begin to nurture your body. Okay, the first mindset shift is going from feeling like I have to get everything done today to focusing on what matters the most today. When we are stuck in this cycle of pushing ourselves, that push mode, our brain just sees our entire to-do list as urgent, like it must be done now. And this is something, especially like I said, as a task-driven person, I noticed that my brain would go that way. I could have 10 items on my to-do list, and there was no way, like it was just not physically possible for me to accomplish all 10 of them. But in my mind, all 10 of them were urgent, because it's like, this has to be done. I have to get this done. But the truth is that really most days, there are only a few things that really actually matter, that are actually urgent, that I must get done. So instead of asking what is everything that has to get done, could you say instead, what are the 2 or 3 most important things that I need to focus on today? And this is something that I really had to start doing, was saying, okay, I have this big to-do list, and that's perfectly fine. This is like my brain dump list, where every time I think of stuff that we need to do, I add it to the list. But that is not the to-do list that I work off of every single day. The to-do list I work off of every single day is I am looking at that list and saying, okay, feasibly, if I have an hour to work on task today, then I'm not going to be able to declutter and organize the entire house in an hour. So I can't do that. So I can either take those big tasks and break them down into, 15, 30-minute tasks and begin slowly like weeding away at them. Or I can say, okay, here are the certain tasks that I want to do. I have an hour. This one will take me 15 minutes. This one will take me 30. This one will take me an hour. Oh, I can't do that one because I don't have enough time. What out of all of these, what is the most important? And also, not only what is the most important, but I think the time piece of this is really vital, because if we say, okay, I'm going to focus on the 2 or 3 things that I have to do today, these feel the most urgent, but we actually don't have the time that it would take to finish those tasks, then we're setting ourselves up for failure again, whether that's that we push ourselves to get them done, or we stay up late, or we get up early, or our sleep really pays because of that, or if it's that we don't get them done, and so then we fall back into the mindset of feeling like we're not doing enough, or feeling guilty, or things like that. So not only do we want to focus on really minimizing our to-do list to 2 to 3 things a day, but also that time aspect of, what do I actually have time for? How much time do I have? If I focus on these 2 or 3 things, could I get them done in the time that I actually have available to me today? If not, then I need to either break them down into smaller tasks and work on them a little bit each day to get it done that week, or I need to choose a different task. Okay, the second thing we can do is instead of saying, I need to push through, it doesn't matter how I feel, I'm going to push through. What if we said, what is my body telling me? So we know fatigue, brain fog, pain, exhaustion, those are signals from your body. Instead of ignoring them and pushing through them, what if you could get curious and say, what's going on with my body? Why am I feeling this way? Did I drink water today? Have I eaten recently? Did I have enough protein? Do I need to sit down for 5 minutes to rest? Sometimes just taking a short pause, checking in with yourself, and instead of feeling like you have to push yourself or guilt yourself into doing things, get curious about why you feel the way you do. See if you can meet whatever it is your body is needing. And then maybe if it was that you needed water or you needed protein, you might notice you have an energy boost to then continue on completing the task without exhausting your body in the process. Okay, the third one is a lot of times we will think that if I'm resting, it means that I'm being lazy. But what if instead we could start to think rest is going to help my body to recover? It's essential. Your body needs rest. Rest is when your body repairs. It's when your immune system resets. Your nervous system can regulate. All of these important things happen when we rest. It is one of the most powerful ways to break that push-crash cycle. So instead of feeling like if I take 5, 10, 15 minutes to rest, I'm being lazy, I'm wasting time. Instead, we say, I'm going to give myself 5, 10, 15, 30 minutes, whatever you need to rest, to give myself some time to recover so that whenever I get ready to do something again, I can actually show up in the best way possible. Instead of showing up in this super stressed out state, cranky, snapping at everyone because I feel like I have to push myself. And then really that experience is enjoyable for no one because we're not in a good place, but we feel like we have to keep on. Whereas if we would have just taken 15, 20 minutes to rest, it is very likely that we would have been able to continue on in a much better state of mind. Okay, then number 4, this is the last one. We often think as moms, everything depends on me. I have to get it all done. So what if instead we could say, I can get help from other people. And also I can move at a pace that feels sustainable. This can be really, really hard for moms because again, we feel like we have to hold everything together. But instead of pushing beyond your limits, what if you could just say, hey, I'm realizing now, again, it's more about getting curious. If I notice that I'm having brain fog or I'm feeling exhausted, what if instead of pushing myself even further, I asked for help? Or what if I just said, you know what? I can tell that this is not going to work. Like I'm pushing myself too much. So instead of trying to get it all done today, I'm going to break that down into smaller tasks. I'm going to move at a sustainable pace that is going to help me not to just get it all done today, not to just be present with my kids today, but also tomorrow. And that's really where I think that mindset shift of just focusing so heavily on what can I do today, instead of thinking about what I do today, what kind of impact is that going to have on tomorrow and how I can show up tomorrow. When we can begin to start thinking and realizing that how we show up today and how we push our bodies today does absolutely impact how we're going to show up tomorrow. So instead of pushing ourselves and saying, I have to get this done, we can say, what pace can I move at today that is also going to help me to show up and show up as the mom, the wife, the friend that I want to be tomorrow too, and not have to just basically cut myself off from everyone because I am now in a flare-up and I'm crashing. Okay, so here are a couple of simple things that you can try this week. When you start planning your day, just ask yourself, what would caring for my body today look like? Not what would get everything done on my to-do list. Not what would make everyone else happy, but instead we're going to focus on what would support your body. And again, we can sometimes feel like this is selfish, but keep in mind, if you are not in a good state, you are not showing up for your family the way you want to. And I know you guys know this to be true. If you're in a flare, if you're in a crash, you are not showing up how you want. So we have to say, I have to take care of me in order to help take care of you. And, maybe that means you're just doing 2 important things. Again, maybe you're being realistic about the time you actually have to work on stuff. Maybe it means that you are taking a break and getting curious about why you're starting to feel bad. And instead of pushing yourself, you are taking a 15 to 20 minute rest. You're actually letting your body rest. You're getting some water. You're getting some protein, all of these things that your body needs. Those small choices really can help to break this push crash cycle that we find ourselves in so frequently. All right, friends, that is all for this episode. But before we finish up today, I want you to just think about something. Imagine it's one of those mornings where you wake up and your body feels good, and your first instinct might be to think, okay, I'm going to catch up on everything today. But what if instead you paused and you asked yourself a different question? Instead of saying, what's everything that I can possibly get done today? What if instead you said, how can I show up today in a way that is still going to help me to feel good tomorrow? And that small shift can help us to break this push crash cycle. Because the thing is, caring for our bodies, it's not selfish. It is one of the most important ways that you can show up for your family. Because when you can move at a pace that your body can sustain consistently over time, you're going to be able to be present today and tomorrow. And that really is the goal. We want to be able to be consistently present. We want to be able to consistently work on the stuff we want to work on. And if that means doing it at a slower pace, but it means we're going to be consistent, in my opinion, it is worth it. All right, friends, that is all for this episode. I hope you guys have a wonderful week, and I'll see you back next time.
Hey friend, I hope you found today's episode helpful. If you did, would you take a minute to share it with another mom who's struggling with chronic symptoms? And leave a review on Apple Podcasts. It means the world to me to know this podcast is making a difference for you. All right, it's time for me to go tackle those snack requests, and remember that a short walk, even if the kids turn it into a race, still counts as self-care. Keep chasing those little wins. Even when it feels messy, you're making progress. The information shared in this podcast is for educational and informational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always consult your healthcare provider before making any changes to your health routine. I'm not a doctor, and this podcast is not intended to treat or diagnose any condition. You're the expert on your body. Listen to it and reach out to a trusted provider for support.